Hello all and welcome to CloudyML. In this video, we will study about Excel at some basic level. This is a small crash course for you all guys. So let us get started. So first of all, when you get your Excel started, you should know what is the version which you are using. So how you can check it? So you can directly go to file here, and once you go to file, you can select more here, then you can go to account. Once you do that, you can see all the things, the name, and so I have Tableau Office product activated student version 2019. So this is how you can actually see your Excel version. And you should know that not all the features in a older Excel is working in the newer Excels. So newer Excels have a different other things which have been introduced here. So that is how some interface issues can come if we are using the older Excel versions. And before we start Excel, we should know the difference between other business intelligence tool and Excel. So other business intelligence tools are rather smart enough to get you a visualization done at a jiffy. But in Excel, though you can do all the other things, but it takes some extra effort. But overall, in most of the companies, you have Excel as a primary source of doing data analysis or doing a lot of planning activities, because Excel is easier to understand and very user friendly. So Excel is a first step to learn the data analysis. Once you are okay with Excel, then you should go to Tableau, Power BI, and all these things. So to start up with, I have made this dummy data set for a mobile sales. So here I have put mobile name which says Vivo, Oppo, OnePlus, iPhone, Samsung and all. I'll just remove all these columns here so that I can actually tell you what I wanted to speak about it. So I'll just remove all this. So suppose you have got a particular data set which says the Jan, Feb and March summation of sales for a particular mobile phone. Now, if you want to calculate the totals, so I'm starting with very basic level with how you can make a table or how you can calculate various kind of things. So what you can do, you can write total here, TOTL total, and total here as well. Now suppose I want to sum all this up. So what should I do? So whenever you are actually using calculations in Excel, everything starts with an equal to sign. So what you can do, either you can put a equal to sign, and you can do like this. You can simply select this cell C4 plus cell C5 plus cell C6 plus cell C7 plus cell C8 and done. This is the sum. But when you have a large data set, it is like very much cumbersome to use this. So what you can do in this case, you can simply put a equal to sign again, and you can use sum function. You can write sum, and you have got a sum function here. So once you click it, when you select this sum function, you can actually click on the number of cells you want to sum up, and then just press enter, and it is done. Now, one important thing here is absolute referencing and relative cell referencing, which I have written here. So I'll just bold it, absolute cell referencing and relative cell referencing. So what is absolute relative cell referencing? So once I have put a total here, so if I drag this, if I just, you can just stretch this plus symbol here. So all the sales will get added up directly. Why it happened? Because when I'm using the relative cell reference, what this cell is telling me that, okay, I want to add all the above 6 cells or 5 cell. How many phones are there? 5 phones. So I want to add all the 5 phones above this particular cell. So I want C9 cells tells me add up all the above 5 cells, 5 cells above C9, which starts from C4 to C8. C4, C5, C6, C7 and C8. Similarly, when I drag this over, so this is updated. Why? Because the D9 cell tells me that I need to add up the 5 cells above D9, which starts from D4. So you can do all these things. But suppose I want to do the same thing here. So again, I can do sum. I can select this and I can select these 3 cells here and it's done. So I got 1600. But when I drag this now, it is again doing all my work. Why? Because what it is doing, it is telling me that okay, I am adding all the cells like Jan, Feb. So all the cells horizontal or on the left hand side of the F4. So I want F4, cell F4 is telling me that Excel, I want to add the left 3 row or 3 cells from F4. Similarly, F5, F5, F6, F7. So all these things are done particularly. Now suppose this is done. So I have got the totals of all the phones sales per month and also month-wise sales for each phone. Now suppose I want to multiply with GST. What is this GST? GST is 18%. So GST, here I can write GST here, or let us write GST equal to 18%. So for all this figure, you want a GST rate to be added up. Okay, so what you can do, suppose I write 18 here. I'll just remove GST, 18% as GST. I'll just write GST here, say. So what you have to do, you have to multiply this figure with GST. How you can do it? You can simply click on this, multiply it with 18, and then you can divide it by 100. This is what a GST rate is. So this is 306. But suppose I add it here. For example, so what? D9. So what happens is when I stretch it on all the months, the values are increasing much more. Why? Because once you select this, you see D9 into C10. So it is like C10 it is taking, not 18%. Similarly, when I select on this cell, it is taking D10 rather than B10. Why it is happening here? Because relative cell referencing will actually tell to shift the cells as per the formula. So in this case, you would need the absolute cell referencing. How you can use absolute cell referencing? You can simply select on this B10 and press F4. Once you do that, it is like fixed with a dollar sign. Now if you, so this B10, you can actually select and press F4 and enter. So once you now stretch it, or now you fill all this up, so everything will change accordingly. Why? Because once you put a dollar sign above those cells, it will not change. So this is how you can use this. Similarly, you can use the grand total. Maybe you can write grand total here. Grand total excuse me for the phone. So this is a grand total, and similarly you can use the grand total here as well. So in this case also you do the same thing. You can simply put equal to sign, use this, multiply with this F4 B10, press F4 to make it absolute, and then you divide by 100. Oh, this is not a grand total, this is taxes, tax, and this is also tax. So this is 288, and once you stretch it all for all the columns, you get all the GST. Now you can get the grand total here. What is the grand total? You can sum these two rows. So you can use sum function here, SUM, sum, and you can use these two to get the grand total, and then you can actually fill all these cells accordingly to get the values. Here also you can write grand total. So guys, this is how you can make a simple calculations in Excel. You can calculate the taxes, you can calculate the grand total, and you can actually fill all the values up like this. One thing which you should remember here is you should know the absolute cell referencing and the relative cell referencing. What is a relative cell referencing? It says that you add up the first 5 rows above this cell. It says a very general value, but absolute cell referencing fixes a particular cell. Now there is one more thing which I want to tell you is about the BODMAS, which is bracket, operation, division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. This is used to calculate the multiple this is used to do multiple calculations in Excel. So suppose I want to say that find 15% of 2000 and add that to 5000. Maybe, for example, this is the example which I am taking. So what I said, get 15% of 2000. So 15%. So first is bracket. So first calculation is bracket. So 2000 into 0.15. Get 15% of 2000, add up to 5000. This will be the value. But suppose you would not use the bracket, what will happen? 2000 into 0.15 plus 5000. So here in this case, why it is giving you the correct result? Because multiplication is always superior than addition as per the calculation, this BODMAS rule. But suppose I say that multiply 2000 I would say that get 15% of 2000 and divided by 6. So what this value comes? 50. And the same value I will say that get 15% of 2000 and divide by 6. What value will it get? Again it gives 50. So this is doing all the calculations accordingly with these kind of procedure, which is BODMAS, bracket, operation, division, multiplication, and addition. Similarly, if this is a GST case, so what I have to do in this case, suppose I have to get 18% of this, 18% of this, which is 0.18, this 0.18, and suppose I do like this, 18% of this, and I have to add this to C9 itself. What value will it give? it will give you 2006, which is same. So this is how you have to do the calculations like BODMAS. This is how a particular thing happens. The calculations actually happen in Excel. So this is how you have to understand it. Now, the second thing is that after you got this table done, so suppose you want to format this table. So there is the Excel has a beautiful interface wherein you have various kind of shelves, like you have home, insert, draw, page layout, and all this. So when you are on a home tab, you can actually get to format this all up. So how you can do it is, you can simply, if you want to draw the borders, so you have to just select this. You can choose this border and you can choose all borders here, so that it will be like formatted accordingly. Similarly, if you want to bold this all, so you can use this bold, you can use this all bold. Okay, now suppose this is not I want it is in rupees. So these are particularly sales per month as per the rupees. So what you can, how you can like change this all? So you can actually select this, and you can go to this general tab. You can select here and you can go to currency. Once I do once I selected currency, everything will be changed to rupees here. Similarly, you can do all these things here like this. You can change it to rupees or currency. You can change it to currency here. So this is how you can actually format your table. You can also format your table by your conditional formatting. So for that, you can go to home tab as well again, and you can use for conditional formatting and formatting as a table, format as a table. What is a conditional formatting? So suppose there are few options and I want to highlight cells who has like sales of greater than 500. So what you can do, you can simply select this greater than 500. You can just write here, and you can change the color fill. So I'll just leave it that light red fill with dark red text. I'll just press OK. Okay, so first you have to just select all these things. So you have to select this value here, because this is the major cell. All these are the actually taxes and total. So here you can go to conditional formatting. You can highlight cells greater than, say, 500 here. Okay. So you see all the cells with sales as greater than 500 is actually highlighted. Now you can again format it as per your wish. Like you can use a conditional formatting here. So you have highlight cell greater than, less than, between, equal to, text that contains a date occurring, a duplicate values, all these things you can highlight. So suppose I want to find the duplicate values here. So you can just select this and you can find the duplicate values. So it has two highlight things which has been coming here. One which is greater than 500 and other is a duplicate value. So for duplicate value, we can actually see in this case also. Suppose I got a company ID, employee ID, for example. The employee ID is say 34589756565756756 or whatever, 345 again. This is the employee ID, and here you can have the employee name. Then you can have employee designation, all these things you have. So suppose I want to find the duplicate values. So you can see that you can have a employee name as the same, date of joining as the same, designation can also be same, but employee ID cannot be same. So when you have a very large data set, I just want to tell you about the techniques. When you have very large data set and you want to find the duplicates, what you can do, you can simply select those values that cell, that particular data set, you can go to conditional formatting, go to highlight cell rules, go to duplicate values, and you can actually find the duplicate values. And how you can actually remove that from the duplicate, how you can actually remove that these duplicate value. So you can go here. What is this? Data validation, remove duplicates. This symbol is for remove duplicates. So when you just click it, you just have to remove the duplicates from ID. So once you do it, so the duplicate is also removed. So removing duplicates, you can do it from the data tab. So this is how. So guys, I hope you have understood how you can make a table, how you can remove the duplicate, and how you can do a conditional formatting. Similarly, you can use this table and format it. You can go to your insert, you can go to your home tab, and you can format it as a table along with all this various kind of interactive table types. So suppose I select this. So once I use this, you see this is like highlighted. And one more important thing which I get when I format as a table is I get the automatic filters here. If you don't have a filter, so suppose I don't format it as a table and I actually leave the conditional formatting greater than, I just remove all these things. Okay, let me leave it like this. And suppose I want to change it to, for example, the table, or I want to filter some sales of some phone. So what I can do, I can use a filter button. How we can use it? We can go to this data tab here and you can use this filter. So once I use this, I can actually, suppose I just want to see the sale of Oppo. So what I can do, I can just remove this select all. I can go to Oppo here. I can select this and it is good to go. I can see like this. And if I want to see all the values, I can simply go on and press on select all and it is done. So this is how we can do by placing manual filter. But what formatting as a table does, so formatting as a table actually gives you all this by default. So if I use this, so my table will be okay. This will change a filtered range on. To complete this up, please remove auto filter. So actually I've already used the filters. That is why it is not being shown. So you have to actually remove the filters first. So you can go to data, you can just remove the filters from here, and then you can go and format it as a table. So you can go to insert and home and format as a table. Formatting as a table gives you a better clarity and it gives you a automatic filters as well. Okay, this is how you can use this is how you can use a format as a table. So I hope you now understand how you can do a formatting and how you can remove the duplicates and highlight the cells as per the conditions. Also, one more thing I would like to tell you, if you want to insert some image or something, so suppose I want to insert some illustrations like pictures. So you can take the pictures from this device or suppose online pictures. So Microsoft Excel actually use Bing as a search engine, so to search the various pictures which you want to take. So due to some internet issue it is not happening, so you will get all the pictures up here and you can actually select the picture and put it here. So something like that you can do. You can insert, when you go to illustration, you can insert pictures, say shapes, icons, 3D models, smart art, all these things you can do. Also you can actually go on and you can actually draw the graph from this. How you can draw? So this is a column chart. So once I use a column chart here, so this is the column chart which actually popped up. So this is how you can actually make a bar chart from this particular table. So you can see This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is mobile sales for Jan. This is orange one is Jan. This one is Feb. This one is March. That the blue ones is the total. Green is the tax, and again dark blue is the grand total. So this is how you can make a chart. You can actually filter a lot of things from here. You can, if suppose you want to filter your different sales. So suppose I want to remove grand total. Suppose I want to remove the taxes and the total. Taxes and the total. So what will happen? So this is how it. So you can actually go on this filter and you can remove the total and the taxes. Okay, this is how you can do it. Then you have to just select on apply. So once you do that, you have the taxes and total is removed, and you have the grand total, and then you have all this graphs. And accordingly you can actually make a line graph, bar graph, all the things as per this smart art. So once you go to insert, you go to recommended chart. You can go to recommended chart here. You can go to maybe this is the pie chart here. This is a scatter plot here. So you can select whatever you want. This is 2D bar. This is what? This is a tree map. This is a waterfall chart. This is a line chart. So you can use a line chart as well. So this is a line chart. So you have the line chart for particular year. You have March, Feb, Jan, all these figures you have, and you can again filter from this. You can actually filter out the total and taxes from here, and then you can apply. So you can see the difference. So this is what is called, this is the orange one is Jan, the gray one is Feb, yellow one is March, and this is the grand total. Suppose you want to just see the variation of all the 3 months, you can remove this mobile also, you can remove this grand total also, and you can apply this. So you have the line chart. So as from the table you can make a line chart, you can make the column chart as well. So this is how you can make your tables more interactive, and you can draw some good important business insights from this. So after this, there are various other kinds of functions, and there are various kind of other types of things which you can do it in Excel. So suppose I want to understand the pivot table. So what is a pivot table? So this is a dummy data set which says that as per the city, this is the order date, this is the state, this is the region, what is the category for the sales, subcategory for the sale, what is the sales has happened, what is the quantity, what is discount, and what is profit. Suppose this is a particular graph, or this is a particular chart which you have, the data set which you have, and you want to understand, because what is the sales for maybe furnitures, only furnitures and office supplies, because here from here you have to just actually go on and actually get all this value manually and add it all up, which is like very cumbersome. So pivot table actually gives you that flexibility. So from here what you can do, you can insert pivot table here from table and or range. So this, the table is already selected. If not, you can actually select this table up. You can select a new worksheet, or on an existing worksheet. I will select a new worksheet here, and once you put OK, you get all the fields up here and columns, rows, and values. So suppose I want to see the subcategory sales, which is this, or let us remove this. I just want to see the category wise sales. This is 3 categories: furniture, office supplies, and technology, and I want to see the sales. So this is the sum of sales for furniture, office supplies, and categories. If I want to see the profits, I can actually select profits here. So this is the sum of profit, and this is the sum of sales for the furniture, office supplies, and technology. This is how you can actually use pivot table for your actual purpose, because pivot table is a very good tool, and you can actually get to do a lot of things from this. Like that big data set was like, I can like actually compress it for my use, and I can use all this like categories. I can take subcategory wise cell and all these things. And you can also actually change the aggregation from here. So I can change this value field setting. I can go to this value field setting, and I can change this summation of sales to maybe average sales, for example. I can change this to average, so this will change to average. Similarly, you can again go to value field setting from here, and you can change to count and all. So this is how you can use a pivot table here. Also, on in our sheet number 1, you can actually also get, as we have got the sum, you can actually get the average, the count and all this thing. So I can also get the average. Once I do this, once I type average, I will get a suggestions for average, and I can actually get the average sales of January, which is this. Rupees 340 is the average sales of January, and then you can drag it. February it is 360, and for March is 760. So this is how you can get the average. Then you can also get the count. What is the count of number? So in that case, just put equal to sign, and you can use count like this. Once you use count like this, you can actually count the total number of phones, which is 5, and which will be same in all the cases. So this is how you can actually use the pivot table, and you can also use these functions to get the count and all. So I hope pivot table is clear to you all. Either way, you can actually, if you want to calculate the particular sales for the phones for any reason, any region maybe. Yes. So you have phones here, and phones here. So you have to actually calculate the individual values. So this is a very cumbersome task. So you can either, how you can actually do it if you have a particularly large data set. So one way is that you can use a pivot table. So you can go to insert, you can select the pivot table from table range. This is the table range, and this is the existing worksheet. This is the existing worksheet here. So one second, this is the, maybe let us choose this space, or yeah, here the space is the constraint. So we can go to insert pivot table again from table and range. This is the table and range. This is the existing worksheet, and you can choose this as the existing portion of the Excel sheet in which I want to analyze a pivot table. Once I put OK, I have got this. So I can see the products in rows. This is the product in rows, and Q1 sales as values. So now you can actually calculate what is the value of phones. So you can either do it from pivot table. Also, you can use a DSUM function. How you can do a DSUM function? So DSUM function actually calculate the sum as per a given condition. So suppose I want to calculate the sum of phones. So here I have not put up phones here, but let us see. So this is the refrigerator sales. So refrigerators, I have one values of refrigerator, which is 69,676. So here, suppose I go to formula bar. I just want to analyze my DSUM function. So you can actually use this database. This is the database. What is the field? Field is D2, like I want Q1 sales. And what is the criteria? The criteria is I2 to I3. So if I change I2 to I3. So in this case, suppose I want to change it to phones. So I can actually delete this. This is actually a data validation which I have put here. So we'll learn about this. But suppose I want to see about phones. So here is, I have not put phones here. But say I want to make this thing as, like I want to copy this here. And I want to put phones here. Remember guys, when you write any such kind of things, phones or whatever, so it is case sensitive. So here I want to apply the DSUM function. So you can use DSUM here like this. You can use DSUM here. You can open the argument window. You can choose this data set here. This is the data set. What is the field? Field is again the D2, which is the Q1 sales. What is the criteria? Criteria is this and this, I7 to I8. So once I use this, I got the sale of phones, total sales of phones. So where are the phones? Phones are here. This is 1. Then you have phones here as 1 and phones as here. This also is 1. So you get the sales of phone here. So if you compare it from pivot table values, so phones are 22,46,921, which is the same thing here. So this is how DSUM function can be worked. So you can either use your pivot table or you can use the DSUM function to calculate the value of each individual cell in such kind of a data set. Now let us go and understand about the data validations which I have applied it here. What is a data validation? So suppose I have one data set which says about different types of car, make, model, number of doors, whether it is automatic or not, convertible or not, insured or not, all these things, and enter price. What does a data validation does? Data validation actually gives you a restriction so that your data quality can be very good or up to the mark. Let me tell you. Suppose you have a different showrooms of Maruti Suzuki, for example, at different corners of the country, and you are asked to prepare this kind of sheet, and you want to analyze, your head office is somewhere and you want to analyze all those sheets together in a head office. But do you think that if you ask somebody to make such data set, will the values written will be very similar? Of course not, because somebody would like to write automatic as YES, somebody will write no, somebody will write N capital. All these differences can be made, like somebody can write normal yes, no, somebody can write capital Y, small no. So when you get all this kind of different data sets from various sources, the data which is entered is not uniform. To maintain the uniformity, you want to restrict the values. For that, you use the data validation. So suppose this is a auto, whether it is automatic or not. I want to see whether it is automatic or not. I have already applied a data validation here. Suppose I want to see whether the vehicle is convertible or not. So what I want to do, I will just select this. I will go to my data tab. I will go to this tool which is called data validation here. I will go to settings. There will be 3 windows: input, message, error alert, settings. I will go to allow for a list because I want a list, and I want to write capital yes and capital no, for example. Capital yes and capital no, like this. So once I use this, somebody who will write normal N cannot write it. Suppose this has a data validation, so you can actually choose yes or no. Suppose I'll write a normal N, so it will show an error message. That value doesn't match with the data restrictions defined on this. So I have to by default press N like this. then only it will be like okay. So this is what a data validation is actually. You can actually remove it also. Suppose you want to remove the data validation from here. So you can again go to this data validation here, go to list and remove this. Once you remove this, you put it to any value and then it can be removed. So it can be removed and it can be used to value, it can restrict the value you actually give. So here I have applied a data validation here. Once I go to the argument window in the DSUM, so once I go to argument window here, so you can see the database is written, the field is written, the criteria is also written. This is the criteria. But in this case, when you see in this case, you go to data validation here, you see the source is from M5 to M15, which is this, M5 to M15. That is why you can find phones here also. So it can actually work. So earlier on, I was not actually dragging my slider up. That is why I could not find it. So I can actually use my data validation and accordingly I can change it. So phone has this, then you have refrigerator as this, then you have table fans as this. So you can use DSUM functions also in place of pivot table to make your analysis more interactive. When we have already learned all these things, let us go to learn about some other functions like if functions, because that also actually work in a favor. Like you can do a lot of things for a if function. So this is the data set. This is the dummy data set which says that sales figure for December 21 for these 5 people here, with week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, with the total sum of sales. What the monthly goal is 33,000. So I have to see whether my target has been achieved or not. So how I can write it? So I can use a if function here. Once I use the if function and I open the argument window, what it says, what is the logical test? What is the logical test you want? So if this total is greater than or equal to this, then the target achieved is yes, and if no, then it is no. I will just put it okay. This is how it is done. So similarly, this is if F5 is greater than target, or if F5 is greater than I6, and you can actually drag it all down like this. You will get all these values because of cell relative referencing. So you got yes, no, no, yes, yes, and yes because it is showing you the total. If you again drag it again, it will be no because there will be no values. So this is how a if function can actually work. You can also use AND function. Suppose I want 2 conditions. The first condition is that monthly goals should be achieved, and if apart from monthly goal achievement, if a person has done a target achievement of each week greater than 8,000, he will be eligible for incentive. Then you can use a AND function in collaboration with if function. How? You can say this. So if I open the argument window, so what I said, AND function, and AND function if H5, what is H5? H5 is the target achieved, which is this for first function, first person. H5 is yes, then minimum of B5 to B6, sorry, B5 to E5 should be greater than or equal to 8,000, then the person is eligible for incentive, otherwise not eligible for incentive. I use the AND function here. And if it is true, then he is eligible for incentive. So here you can see each and every person has been selling more than 8,000 per week. Similarly, these two guys are not having weekly sales greater than 8,000, so not eligible for incentive. So accordingly we can get the values. So guys, this is how you can use these all functions for Excel in a suitable manner. So you have learned in this video how to make a proper Excel sheet, how to calculate sum, average, count, what is absolute cell referencing, what is relative cell referencing, how you can use a pivot table, what is the use of pivot table, how you can use a DSUM function in place of pivot table, how you can apply data validation. Then you have also learned about how we can use a if function, and also a AND function in collaboration with if function to get certain interactive features done in the Excel sheets. So I hope you like the content of this video, and if you like the content, please hit like button and share CloudyML channel with everyone. Share our channel. That's it for this video. Thank you.